My name is Lawrence Hartman and welcome to Blind Greed. This topic certainly isn't easy for me and wasn't something I ever imagined doing, sharing true crime stories. But I seem to have developed a special insight, let's say, having viewed all this from the inside out. Frankly, I'd been sitting on this podcast for years, waiting for just the right time. It's a lot to come to terms with. True crime. It's generally something you want to stay as far away from as possible, especially if you happen to be the subject matter. But I think it's crucially important to share my story and those of others. My main objective here is getting into the minds of the people who commit them, true crimes, understanding their background and figuring out what motivated them, and me, to turn down a dark and treacherous path. The truth is, justice is rarely black or white. There's an entire spectrum of gray blurring the lines between right and wrong. Like most people, I've had incredible highs and spectacular lows, but mine always seem to pivot to the extreme. Always. Imagine graduating from an Ivy League law school and landing a dream job on Wall Street. It's the kind of life people write novels about. Sounds pretty incredible, right? Well, for me, it turned into nothing more than a fucking nightmare. And the worst part? I did it all to myself. I first contemplated the journey of telling my story while sitting in a horrible, decrepit Nicaraguan prison, pure hell. And then while writing my book, Blind Greed, From Ivy League to International Fugitive, while serving a 10-year sentence. Little did I know where this new adventure would take me. How the hell did I go from being general counsel of a publicly traded company to dealing with gangsters, getting kidnapped, and having a gun pointed at my head several times? My insane adventure encompasses the early days of online gambling, offshore banking, international boiler rooms a la the Wolf of Wall Street, and did I mention traveling the world while I was a fugitive on Interpol's most wanted list? By the time everything came crashing down, I had over a dozen agencies from 7 different countries working on my case. What the hell was I thinking? Even today, I'm not completely sure. Here's what I am sure of, though. This story will make you uncomfortable. Hell, it makes me uncomfortable, and I lived every single moment of it. I built an empire out of moral quicksand. Anonymous bank accounts, multiple passports, a second identity. Crazy shit, right? Some days I felt like Jason Bourne as I reached for my 9mm safely tucked in the back of my jeans, wondering how I ever got into this mess. Others, I was simply a complete mess, up to my eyeballs in gangster shit I grew up watching on TV. And while it may all seem like a plot pulled from a Hollywood movie, this was my life. Real life. We'll be exploring everything, leaving no stone unturned. From the highs of my great successes and excess to addiction, my attempted suicide, and a whole host of other fabulously bad decisions as I seek answers on my road to hopeful redemption. I have a lot of making up to do. That's what this podcast is all about. It's VIP access to what lurks behind the scenes. True crime? We'll be examining what drives people to do what they do, and it all begins with me. Welcome along for the ride. To begin, I'd like to share a brief story. I first met Lou Pearlman back in 2014, right after finishing my first admittedly awful draft of my book. I asked Lou for help picking a title. After all, he was a best-selling author and the music mogul behind NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and a string of other famous artists. If anyone knew how to sell something, it was him. He came back to me with 10 options, 7 or 8 of which contained the word greed. I'm like, Lou, greed? Really? What the hell does greed have to do with my story? At the time, I simply didn't get it. It took a while to sink in. But as I came to understand, that was lesson number 1 and the eventual title of my book. It took 6 years and over 60 rewrites for it to finally click. Without even realizing it, I'd become an expert on greed. It's not exactly the badge of honor you dream about. No one likes to be thought of as greedy, let alone an authority on the subject. But here's the thing. It gave me a front row seat to human nature. Why is greed so universally hated, yet constantly glorified by Hollywood and the political elite? That got me thinking. Most people think greed is about stuff. Prada, Gucci, Rolex, Rolls Royces, mansions, yachts, private jets, and the like. We're bombarded with these symbols practically from birth. I mean, just hearing that list probably gave you a little shot of dopamine and adrenaline, like driving a ruby red Ferrari into a hairpin turn. Others realize it's deeper. It's about power, control, having an army of yes men at your command. But even that doesn't fully explain it. You know, there was a social experiment a few decades ago where kids were given a choice. Do you want one cookie now or 2 cookies later? Most took one because of the now, instant gratification. Many of those kids matured beyond this in a few years, while some never did. Yet I wonder how today's kids raised on social media and with Amazon Prime might fare. Because the simple truth is that greed isn't just about what you want, it's about when you want it. It's why we stretch ourselves thin buying cars, houses, and even iPhones we can barely afford. A captivating spell, enchanting us like a siren song, leaving us longing for more. What is it, though, that then compels some of us to go over the line and drive that shiny new red Ferrari straight over a cliff? The difference between right and wrong is very rarely black and white. It involves an entire spectrum of gray that can be tough to navigate. One easy rationalization after another. Some people never feel the pull, the saintly Mother Teresas of the world. Others are born greedy to the core, wondering why the kids in the experiment never asked for 2 cookies now, let alone the whole damn bag. For the rest of us, well, primal triggers are at work. VIP access can be pretty difficult to resist. I was watching an interview the other day regarding a wealth tax. Some pollster was on the street soliciting opinions, and there was a general consensus that Wall Street and billionaires are inherently evil. Having lived that life, I could certainly understand why. Those greedy bastards with their designer clothes and fancy jewelry, partying like rock stars till the break of dawn. Entitled fucking pricks. Yet ironically enough, most of us would change places in a heartbeat. The ancient philosopher Confucius once famously said, by 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is bitterest. My life? It may have been an insane joyride of excitement, but bitter lessons leave me realizing it was actually nothing more than a runaway train. I therefore hope that you might learn nobly from my pain to avoid a lifetime of regret. Fantastic dreams are funny things like wishes from a genie. You have no clue just how terribly twisted things can get until it's inevitably too late. Thank you for joining me today. If you like my podcast, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd love to see you here again in the future. We'll be getting into my story and those of many others and learning many, many lessons together as we get our insights into the mind of true crime.